Manson Northwest, yes. Back to Manson Northwest Webster, the tuition and the fees. We talked about that at the last meeting, and really sort of taking that on. It's her challenge, I think.
This week.
This week, yeah.
I did pass out some papers that were connected there. I called the juvenile court people today and talked to them a little bit about this. They were not aware that we were getting soaked for that type of transportation cost for either the student from TAC or the student from Wall Lake to Auburn, which is about $164 a day. He in turn referred me to his boss in Sioux City, or in Fort Dodge, and then he in turn referred me to the second judicial judge, who is on vacation, but he'll be back in the morning. They have never had a school district complain about this before, and I said, this is absolutely outrageous, and we do not want to pay those transportation costs. So I guess I would agree to stack paying for the tuition, but not necessarily the tuition for the transportation cost at this time. So we figure out what the court system is going to do about this. Because if we pay $18,000 per semester for this child that has been put in Rabiners and is currently, from my understanding, according to the juvenile court person, he is back in the Southern Cal system. That'd be $36,000 for the year. He could be a teacher almost for that kind of money. So
is his tuition just the $3,000 and
right.
reading this correct?
Tuition is at $3,1134. But $15,295.15 for 93 days of transportation.
We don't know. The rumor is that he's in Southern Cal, but we don't know that for sure. I called their superintendent, and they don't know. And that really wouldn't be unusual for them not to know, because he could move back into their district, but he would never go to those buildings to school. He would move, Rabiners would just change where they pick him up and deliver him, and he'd keep going to the Manson School District. So I called Rabiners to talk to the principal, and got no response from anybody in that office, and I sent an email to the principal at Rabiners and didn't hear back from him either. I called the parent, and of the 3 numbers we were given, 2 are unlisted. They're currently not in operation. I left a message at the 3rd number to just say I'm trying to track down Brandon King and where he lives and where he resides. So we're hoping tomorrow that Rabiners ought to at least know where they pick him up and deliver him. Now that would be the SAC resident student. The Wall Lake to Auburn student still lives in the district, still is being transported, but the argument is over the expenses for transportation. I told Shirley that I had called, well, just before our last board meeting when I was explaining this to you guys, and reported to the principal that we'd never gotten any progress reports, and I still haven't, by the way. And a month ago I emailed him, 3 weeks ago I emailed him, 2 weeks ago I emailed him, and then I'd forgotten last week to email him, and this week I emailed again and said, still haven't gotten any reports, don't think. Tell me where the guy lives, because we don't even think we don't even know if he lives in our district. And Rabiners will have what somebody answers the phone. Rabiners will have the details about when, if he in fact has moved to a different district, they'll have the details of what the date was that they quit picking him up at TAC and started picking him up at Southern Cal. So that will change the billing. We did count those kids, so they were on our count. But the whole issue with the count is you don't get funded nearly as much as what the expense is. So thanks to Shirley, she's helping track it down on the transportation side. Last week I got a message from Jennifer, and she said someone from Rabiners that called to say, the message from Mrs. Clearoff was, we're trying to get down to the bottom of this transportation thing, and we don't want you to think that we've forgotten you. But nothing had changed at that point. So I don't know. We'll get it tracked down.
The juvenile probation officer does say that this child was moved back to Lake City, but I'm still not comfortable with those transportation costs, especially since you'll see on the page the special ed costs at Rabiners Treatment Center. You'll take a look at transportation under their pupil transportation is all the way from $727.79 to, well, depending upon the child, of course, whether it's level 0, 1, 2, or 3. There's nothing like the $15,000 they charged us for transportation. I'll fight this with those court people. It's ridiculous.
Level 0 is a general education student, so that means that the student is not special education. It's level 0. And the other 3 are
they proficient?
Yes.
So maybe we shouldn't pay the bill until we have sufficient
I
progress
think
report.
Walleye Auburn paid it last year.
I'm still fighting for you.
Well, here's the deal with Walleye Auburn. We're still accruing expense, so we can always withhold
I
the
don't-
second semester.
I've never been a fan of rabiner. In my opinion, I don't think that we should pay them until they provide us with progress reports on these kids. I mean, that's not right. That is just not right.
Well, and you remember from last time, the circumstances are that we had no input into the placement of either of the kids.
Shannon wasn't here. You weren't here last.
I was in Florida.
Okay, we had no input in the placement of those kids, so they were quarter placed into a program, a 22-week program, but neither student's going to finish in the 22 weeks, and yet we get no progress reports, but we never placed them. One came from Carroll, and so it happened while the student was in the Carroll system, and the other student, the one that had lived in Pratt, came from Southern Cal. And so that decision was made while they were a resident of that district. So,
We've never been able to find his father either, so.
I left a message for someone today on the phone that's supposed to be the dad, so we'll see. Somebody's going to call tomorrow, asking who our student is that he's at, because I said, hi, I said, if this isn't the dad, please call me back, so I just know that I have the wrong number. And then I called a 662 number that was supposed to be the stepmom, and somebody else answered and said, well, I'm telling you what, I'm not the stepmom. Okay.
Nobody claims the kids.
Anyway.
So anyway, I would recommend to the SAC board that we only pay the tuition costs and leave the transportation costs hanging until the court decides, gives us something, and RAP verifies the transportation cost to us.
You need a motion on that.
You would want a separate one on that?
No, it could be part of the regular motions as long as you know that what you're giving approval to is the $3,011.34 versus the $18,306.49.
Is this something that eventually end up back in a legal situation?
Will it eventually do what?
End up in a legal situation?
I don't know what you mean.
Will we have to put you through a lawyer?
I don't know.
See what I do with the judge tomorrow.
Okay.
I used to sit on the second judicial correctional services board for years, so. Pretty familiar with these people. Well, I think we need